On the record in cause number 328791, the case is styled as State of Texas versus Dennis Keith Collins Jr. Mr. Collins, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Collins, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Collins, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Collins, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Collins?
Good, sir. How are you?
That's good. Thanks for being patient with us. Mr. Collins, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Ryan Matuska. And Mr. Matuska, how are you doing? Okay, thanks for being patient with us this morning. Mr. Collins, I have before me a motion to amend the information. Mr. Matuska, have you had an opportunity to see the motion to amend the information?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Shearer gave me a copy.
Do you have any objections to the amendment?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Matuska, are you requesting any time to prepare, or are you waiving the time in which to prepare for the, after receiving notice of the amendment?
Your Honor, I'm not requesting any time.
Okay, so you're waiving
Yes, sir.
the notice, okay. Mr. Collins, the information alleges that on or about September 1st of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of reckless driving. And this case actually was a refile from cause number 321454. And specifically, it further presents in the information that during a period of January 27, 2019 until March 10 of 2021, an information charging you with a crime relating to the above incident was relating to the above incident was pending in a court of competent jurisdiction, to wit, cause number 321455 in County Court at Law number 3 in Jefferson County, Texas. Style the State of Texas versus Dennis Keith Collins Jr. Mr. Collins, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to this charge of reckless driving, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
No contest, Your Honor.
No contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Collins, I have before me a document that is marked as okay. Now, Mr. Collins, I have a document before me that is titled State's Exhibit Number 1. And it's also but it's the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Now, Mr. Collins, this is a Class B misdemeanor for the transportation code, and I need to make some changes on this document that exceed 30 days. Okay. Now, Mr. Collins, I have before me states exhibit number 1 states that this is a misdemeanor plea admonishment. Now, this is a Class B misdemeanor under section 545.401 of the Texas Transportation Code. And the range of punishment is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 30 days and a fine not to exceed $200, or you could be given both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, do you recognize this document that I have before me with the changes that I've made and my initials are on there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, on page 2 of this same document, Mr. Collins, are these your initials on the line that says
Yes,
no
Your Honor.
contentious? Okay, and on page 3 of this document, is this your signature at the top above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
I have another document here. This document states that this is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. That box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. You have a discovery certification?
Yes, sir.
I think this is a field case. They're gonna have to put the cause number in the name. Okay, thank you. Mr. Collins, I have before me a document that is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Fields, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, at least Mr. Collins, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me states exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'd also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2, that's the probable cause affidavit for this case.
Any objections?
Your Honor, no objection.
No objection. States exhibits number 1 and 2 will be admitted. Mr. Matuska, you advised that counsel, Mr. Collins, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Collins, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Collins, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it's for 1 year deferred probation, a $500 fine, and veterans treatment course.
Mr. Collins, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. this is a, the fine can't be above $200. This is a Class B misdemeanor, reckless driving.
That is true, Your Honor.
Okay, I did not do the plea agreement. That was Ms. Malfino, but I can adjust it to a fine of 200 then.
Oh, okay,
We have no objections.
okay. Okay, so she's gonna have to rework the paperwork so I can tell you exactly. Just hold on a minute.
Your Honor, I've adjusted the plea paperwork.
Okay, now, Mrs. Ramos, could you repeat the state's offer again?
Yes, Your Honor, it's for 1 year deferred probation and a $200 fine in the Veterans Treatment Course.
It's $200 fine plus court costs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Collins, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs of $377, which comes to a total of $577. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and your total monthly installments will be $130 per month. Would you be able to pay the $130 per month?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will not be required to perform any community service, and you will be required to attend and complete the Veterans Treatment Course, as well as adhering to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Collins, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Collins, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Mr. Collins, if you successfully complete the probation, this case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure. He's quite competent in these matters. Mr. Collins, please stand on the X before the court clerk, and once you finish with your paperwork here, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Matuska, you have a blessed day as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Hey, Judge.
Yes, Mr. Galmore.
Yes, sir. I apologize. I'm back. I believe that Mr. Gilthorpe still has a client at the courthouse. Maybe Mr. Uribe.
Yes,
Sure.
Mr. Why don't you call Mr. Uribe out?
on page 2.
again? It didn't, Mr. Collins, can you raise your right hand? Please? Represent the district of New York. For this, and this, and this. And you have any other, pending charges again? Once you leave here, you are, directed to go.
We're on the record in cause number 323800. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Uribe Perez. That's your full name? You, Mr. Arturo Uribe Perez? Okay. Mr. You're represented by Attorney Jerry. Wilcox is not here. However, Mr. Galmore is making an appearance in this case for Mr. Gilthorpe. Mr. Galmore, do you have an announcement?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to place this on the plea docket.
Okay, we're gonna reset it on the plea docket. May 17 of 2021, we're going to give Mr. Uribe a copy of the reset in court. Mr. Galmore, you are
Your Honor, if I could, I have one more question for you. I have somebody on the docket